Yes, lads, what is going on? Welcome back to episode 3 of the £20 under 23 Sorare Road to Glory. Hope you've all had a good game week. I, for one, did not. We'll definitely get into that very, very shortly. If you are new to the channel, lads, please do subscribe. And if you do enjoy the series, the video, please do leave it a like. And if you are completely new to Sorare and you are yet to sign up, there is a link in the description of this video that will get you free market credits once you've purchased your first 5 cards from the auctions. Now, let's first off recap our horrendous weekend, lads. Division 4 Classic Under 23 was, a disaster, right? We're at a stage where we've just started the Road to Glory. We don't have an abundance of options every week. We're doing this on a budget, right? So it's not going to be plain sailing every weekend. And with one goalkeeper, you are going to fall victim to having not great matchups. This weekend, Dakovic had, like I mentioned in episode 2, the worst matchup you could probably ever have in Croatia, right? They were away to Dynamo Zagreb. And yeah, this one was quite an easy one to predict, right? 3-0 at home. Our goalie was away. Got a little bit of AA, but, nowhere near enough to make up for the 3-goal deficit. And, yeah, the negative decisive, which, we kind of planned for. Like, we kind of could foresee that happening. And there's going to be weekends where that is just going to happen. That's the nature of, not having a goalkeeper on a top team where they're going into the game as favourites most of the time, right? So that's just part of it. We had 2 really good scores for the first 2 games, and then he comes up against, a real good team in Dynamo, and yeah, obviously gets spanked. And you're never going to really do too much if your goalkeeper's only bringing in 19 points. You are asking for your 4 outfielders to really push towards 100 each, which is with the budget we're on, it's just very difficult. So yeah, it's fine. We're going to have weeks like this, and that's just part of having a lower budget team. You've got to expect things like this to happen. Unless you have multiple goalkeepers that you can rotate in for good fixtures, good matchups, it's just going to happen. Danilo Vega, as my captain, really let us down. He let me down in a couple of other scarcities as well, which I won't go into in this video. But again, really good game on his first game for Estrella against Braga, and then yeah, against Famalicão. They lost 3-0 at home. Really poor showing. Lost a bucket load of duels, which is not like him, judging off, the first game. And yeah, lost a load of possession as well, which just kills fullbacks. Adson, was probably alongside our new forward signing, which I'll introduce to you guys in a minute. But yeah, Adson 14 AA. Like, this is the type of AA that he is capable of. He does have forward cards as well. We of course own the midfielder version. And yeah, missed out on the decisive. They played away from home. Like, I wasn't expecting the world, but that is promising AA. Like, if you can add decisives to that, I'm really happy with where that could go as far as scores go. Kenzo again. We said it was a tough game. Like, I know they beat Middlesbrough, to be fair, which is quite surprising. The duels, the tackles, the interceptions aren't really there yet. He's going to take a few weeks, a few months to sort of acclimatise to championship football. So I'm not too worried about it. I didn't expect him to just walk into this this league and light it on fire. So yeah, we'll definitely be patient with him. And we brought in a new forward. I mentioned at the end of last week's video, if I was to sell Brian Reynolds, which we did after the episode went live, I did end up bringing in a forward option. Sabai, I don't know how to pronounce it. I don't know whether this is a silent S or not. Let me know in the comments, lads, any native French speakers. But yeah, he got a decisive, he got an assist, which is obviously promising on his debut. To be fair, we were only 28 points away from winning a box. 200, just under 230 points for a box isn't actually that terrible, is it really? Like, I know this is Division 4, so yeah, you can expect the scores to be relatively low, but we weren't a million miles off winning a box. So, you can kind of look at it, that's kind of a promising thing. I know a box isn't going to, light up the world for you, but it definitely, helps you towards, of course, essence and crafting cards and, level ups and whatever. I know no one really wants to win level ups. It's all about the essence right now. But, that's pretty promising. Like, the scores are really low, to get a box. So, I'm confident that every weekend, I know we didn't this weekend, but, 2 really bad scores from our defender and goalkeeper. But barring that, we should probably be hitting, a box every weekend if we're playing in Division 4. So I'm quite optimistic. I know we didn't score well as a 5, but, or they didn't score well as a 5. It was nothing to do with me. Only joking. But yeah, it is what it is. Like, there is promise there, and I'm sure we'll turn things around this weekend, which we'll get into in a little bit towards the end of the video, of course, when we start building lineups. I've got a bucket load of other things to get through in this video. So yeah, this could be a hefty Road to Glory video as far as length goes. So we'll see how it all transpires. But anyway, I'm going to show you my new and improved spreadsheet. So someone in the comments basically said, like, you should, update the spreadsheet a little bit more. And I've added a few bits to it. I've not done anything, extravagant. But basically, I've just added up, all the cards that we own right now, the cost of those cards. The only tricky one was Dakovic, because I traded, Mercado plus £1. So, yeah, that just kind of, illustrates that. And then I've shown the floor price right now. So this is the price, to buy any of the cards that we own right now on the market. Buy it now. Like, this is the floor price. And then we've got transactions where this is just going to show us, cards that we've sold, and if we've sold them for a profit or not. So Mercado obviously left the gallery, bought him for £8.40, and we ended up trading him for, the new goalkeeper. And then the Reynolds trade, we ended up getting £1.95 for him. It wasn't, I think it was £2.50 I was discussing maybe in the video. His price definitely came down a little bit. Demand didn't really, sort of meet supply there. And yeah, £1.18 no profit. Like, we'll take that all day long. And we have, of course, brought in a couple of new additions. One being that, that forward that I mentioned, Sabai, or however we're going to pronounce it. £1.29 he cost me. So we do have now two forwards, Negley and himself. And with the loss of Reynolds, I was a little bit short at defense as well with only Vega. And yeah, I don't know where my trust is with him after the last game. So we brought in a player that I know, I've got him in a different scarcity for £1.01, and that's Big Award Pletinik. I don't know how to pronounce that one either. Any Belgians watching that, I'm very, very sorry if I've butchered it. Solid defender. He isn't going to light up the world, but for a quid, he fitted our budget quite nicely. They have a half-decent fixture this weekend, and so that leaves us with a gallery value of just under £22. Basically what we've already spent. Like, we're at like net zero right now. Of course, we won that bit of cash from the first episode, and we've kind of injected that back in, and our balance right now is 22p. So I'm not really somebody that's too sort of profit focused, especially with a road to glory like this. I don't think you can kind of afford to be at this stage. It's all about trying to win cards, trying to win essence and boxes and all that fun stuff. I think that's kind of my goal with this. And of course, I'm giving away every single card at the end of the season to you guys. So yeah, I'm not really in this to make, well, obviously I'm not in it to make any money. I'm giving everything away. But yeah, I'm just showing you and illustrating that sometimes it is good to take profit on cards like we did with Reynolds, with that the Belgium special. And yeah, we'll continue to do things like that in the future. But it's all about building, for me, just a gallery of players that I can choose from week to week. Like, if I didn't buy that, Pletinik, then I would have only Vega as my defender. If he doesn't have a good matchup, then, it does get a bit dicey if we're only putting out one lineup. And I want to be able to, swap in and out players to fit the build that weekend. And I'm at a stage now where I have two defenders, I have four midfielders, and two forwards, obviously one goalkeeper. But yeah, I think we're in a decent position. Like, we've definitely strengthened the gallery in places that it needed to be strengthened. And yeah, I'm pretty happy with where things are going. So we can get rid of that. That's kind of done for now. Now, this is the next thing I wanted to bring to your attention, lads. So myself and Quinny, who do the deadline stream, we do it over on Quinny's channel every Friday. We have got a sponsor for that stream. And it is Predictorfy, who are basically a lineup projections website, service, whatever. And basically, we've been given a code, which is Quinny Harry. So when you do, or if you are going to go sign up to Predictorfy to help you with your lineup projections and stuff, we'll definitely have a look over on the site in a minute. Yeah, if you do use that code, you will be entered into a giveaway where you can win a mystery signed jersey. So it could be from anyone, of course. I don't even know who the jersey is of, so I can't even give you any spoilers. I genuinely don't know. But yeah, for it to apply, you do have to buy the all regions access. It can't be a single region. You can pay for the single region, but you won't be sort of entered into that. And the guys over at Predictorfy have given me 3 1-month memberships to give away in this video. So basically, comment section, let me know your Discord or Twitter handle, and I will contact 3 of you. And 3 of you will win a 1-month free membership, basically. If you've already signed up and you do end up winning the 1-month free membership, it will be added on. So if you've paid for, 1 month, you're going to get 2 months, basically. I'm pretty sure that's how it's going to work. And yes, if you've already sort of signed up, you can still be eligible to win, one of the 3 1-month giveaways that I'm going to be doing in this video. Like I said, all you need to do is comment below your Twitter handle or your Discord, and we'll contact you that way, and we'll basically ask for your email address so we can send the code to you guys. So yeah, glad that's all out of the way. We can kind of get rid of Twitter now, and now we can get into the main bulk of the video, which is sort of to do with the title, and that is how to win in Rivals. Now I know that's going to be a bit ironic when you're looking at a relegation battle here in Division 5 from myself, which, yeah, I'll be honest, I've not really had a good week on Rivals as a whole. I lost a couple of games last night, and yeah, it's going to happen, right? That's just the nature of the beast. But as far as like my strategy goes, and do you want to take advice from somebody that's, bound to get relegated maybe now in Division 5? Maybe not. But I'll kind of give you a few pointers that, just kind of use as a bit of a base when I'm playing rivals. So one of the biggest things for me, and this might only apply, I think, to people in the UK and France, is that, when you're building a lineup, you want to basically to have the most choice possible and to not be at a disadvantage. You basically want to play games like, so for example, Chelsea, Sorare, like you basically want to play in games where you don't actually own pro cards. Like you just want to use the commons, if that makes sense. Like, for example, I own a Badia Shield, I own a Enzo. I'm basically at a disadvantage in a way if I use both my Enzo and Badia Shield alongside whoever plays for Chelsea tonight. We're not going to know that the lineups aren't out yet. But, effectively, say if I did play this lineup, right? The person that I'd be matched up against could basically have 4 pro cards. They could have 4 super rares, they could have 4 rares, they could have 4 limiteds or 5 limiteds. And so, I could be at a bit of a disadvantage there where my sort of strategy, because I am, UK account and whatever, you are still eligible, to basically play 5 commons. And you will only be matched up against another player, another user in the arena that is using 5 commons as well. And so, yeah, you're not kind of up against it before you've even started because you're not playing anyone with pro cards. So that's something that kind of only applies to UK and France, I believe. I could be off with the France shout, but I'm pretty sure that's the case. So that's one thing that, like I said, that's only going to apply to, sort of a select amount of people maybe watching this video. Now, as far as tactics go, I do have a little strategy when sort of deploying, different tactics. So, for example, let's say I go double defense here. So let's say I know Reece James is in the squad, but I don't know if he's going to start yet. So this is, me just kind of speculating who is actually going to play tonight. But it doesn't really matter. The point still stands is if I go 1 forward and double defense, so let's say I just go Colwill and Reece James, or I actually can't because those two are too expensive. Let's say let's go Fofana, right? I don't even know if he's in the squad, but it doesn't really matter. So look, I've gone 2 defenders here, right? Let's say I captain Reece James, and then we get to the tactics side of things. If I'm going 2 defenders, most of the time, I'm going to probably go duels 1 in a game where, Chelsea are a dominant side, in this game as far as playing against Sorare in the Conference League. And so, yeah, for me, if I've got 2 defenders in my 5, duels 1 is normally the tactic I go for. Or tiki-taka. If I think my 2 defenders are really, really good at passing and I'm going to get, a lot of passing stats, the midfield count as well as does the goalie and forward. But, if I've got 2 centre-backs and they're just passing back and forth to each other, then, tiki-taka could also be, a really good tactic to deploy if, the team that you're playing with, so Chelsea, for example, are like heavily favoured. They're going to get a lot of possession in that game. So duels 1 and tiki-taka is kind of what I like to do if I've got 2 defenders. 2 midfielders can work with tiki-taka as well. If these midfielders are always on the ball and they're spraying it from left to right and, getting loads of little passes in, that can also work as well. But, unopposed possession is kind of the best possession because there's less chance of those defenders losing the ball if the other team isn't pressing and they're in a bit of a low block. So, yeah, I do like tiki-taka with 2 defenders and I also like duels 1 as well for that. If I'm going, say, for example, 2 forwards that I think in a game where, again, heavily favoured, let's say I can't even go Madueke. I know Sterling has been exiled from, let's go Nkunku, because that fits as well. So let's say Jackson and Nkunku start tonight for Chelsea, and I expect them to score, a good amount of goals against Sorare, like they are heavily favoured. The chances are I'd probably captain one of them, because I do believe, one of them, if not both of them, are going to get a couple of decisives between them. And then, to boost that again, I'd probably go all-out attack because if I think my 2 forwards are going to get a lot of shots off, obviously hoping they're on target, that is going to then help you win the tactics battle against, the opponent that you've got in the arena because, yeah, if your 2 forwards have scored a couple of goals between them, you're going to basically be over the 3 shots on target mark. And at that point, you're looking good, as far as your tactics go. Another thing I like to do, and this doesn't really have to apply to 2 forwards. It can be 2 midfielders. It doesn't really apply to 2 defenders because defenders are less likely to win these type of things. But for example, let's say, a really good dribbler. So someone like Madueke and maybe somebody like Palmer, but unfortunately we can fit him in if we throw Mudryk in. So we've got Palmer, Mudryk and Cole Palmer, right? I'd probably captain Cole Palmer because he's a set piece taker. He's somebody that takes penalties, so that's a tactic in itself, right? You want to try and captain the player that's most likely to get the most decisives and good amount of AA. If I was to play this lineup, it'd probably be him. If we know all these are starting, again, I'm just assuming that. But as far as the tactics go here, so I've picked Madueke. Mudryk was, a bit of an iffy pick, but let's just say Palmer and Madueke, right? Two really good dribblers. Well, on the Sorare scoring matrix, you get points given. So, like, say if Madueke dribbles past a couple of players, or one player, he's going to get a dual 1 for that, which, is good for the gegenpress. But he will also get a contest 1, which is basically where you dribble past a player effectively. And that is the Jogo Bonito tactic, and you only need over 3 for the first points, and then, over 4 you get 20 points, over 6 you get 40 points. The more players, the more dribblers, the more good dribblers you have in your 5, the quicker you're going to get to this tactic, right? So if I have Cole Palmer and Madueke both ripping up their fullbacks and both get, say, 3 contests 1 each, then I'm already at the highest points mark on Jogo Bonito. So if you've got good dribblers, in your 5-man, specifically 2 or 3 of them, 2's fine, 3, like, I don't mind. I mean, Mudryk is whatever, right? He's not a great player, but say if this player was a good dribbler, your chances of winning the Jogo Bonito tactic battle is pretty high, right? Like, you've got 3 players on your side. Even Reece James can run past people and dribble past. I'm not saying defenders can't do it, but of course, Madueke and Cole Palmer, they are way more likely to do that because they're wingers. That's kind of their job on the field. So, yeah, that's kind of the main sort of tactic, I would say, or the main sort of strategies I deploy when I'm looking at my tactics. I try and pick games that I don't have, or I'm not going to use my pro cards in because I won't be at a disadvantage going into the arena. So with our rival tactics out the way, we can finish off the video then with the lineup building process, and we can kind of check now with Predictorfy, if our players are projected to start. So there's experts in the community that give their projections on certain games, certain leagues, and yeah, thankfully we do have, I think, all of our leagues covered. But for example, the Belgium League, that is fully covered, so we can see in here the Jupiler League, we've got all projections for our teams here, and Leuven, we can see big Pletinik is at 95%, which is good. Like, I'm always looking for my play. Like, if my players are anything below 70%, alarm bells start ringing, and I'm a bit like, okay, why is he at 70%? He's clearly not as nailed as I'd like him to be. But in the case of big Pletinik, who we've brought in, he's probably pretty nailed this weekend, barring any random injuries. Like, at the end of the day, these projections are great, but if a player falls ill a day before a game, there's nothing you can do about that. That's just something that's completely out of these projections and anyone's control, right? But yeah, they have projections for literally every big league that you'd want projections for. We have the Championship, they have Eredivisie. The Brazilian projections aren't actually out yet, but they will be filled out probably by Friday. MLS, we've got a full slate as well. So Radik does a great job there. You've got the Danish Superliga for Midtjylland, and you've got Brøndby in there. You've also got the Turkish League, and this is only Challenger. Like, they also have Champion. They literally have everything, and that's what I was mentioning at the start of the video. If you do pay for the full access, you're going to basically get every single projection as far as the regions go, so Champion, Challenger, and Contender, and even the continental stuff. So right now we do have Leagues Cup on. MLS teams are still playing in that. The final is this weekend. We've got LAFC versus Columbus Crew, and the projections are there as well. So first of all, we're going to go over to Contender, and we're going to have a look at how our goalkeeper is looking for Sibanek. So of course he plays for them, and he's at 90%. So that's a good sign. If our goalkeeper's at 90%, we're doing something right. We've already seen that Pletinik is at 95%. I'm pretty happy to go with him as far as the fixture goes. Estrella away to Benfica is a horrible matchup for Vega, and I do really worry about the amount of goals he might concede there. We have had a bit of an update in the midfielder category, lads. Julian Bass has worked his way into the Sparta Rotterdam side. He started against FC20 in the last game. They drew 1-1, which is a very good result for them away from home, and he played 90 minutes, got 7 AA, which is fine. Like, it's not terrible, but the big thing is with that one, he was taking all of the set pieces. If we go over to SofaScore, and I'll show you quickly how I do this. So if I go over to SofaScore and we find him here, SofaScore has heat maps, which is really, really important. And this shows, in the game against FC20, he was heavily involved in both sides of the set pieces. So that is a huge one. I use SofaScore for that kind of thing all the time. And yeah, if you're new and watching this, little tip there. But yeah, really tough game though, at home to Feyenoord. I'm not too high on playing him, if I'm being honest. We've got Kenzo away to Watford, who again, that isn't a good matchup either. Adson is at home though, which we are probably going to trust that. Like I mentioned though, we don't have Brazilian League predictions yet on Predictorfy, so that's fine. We'll have to wait until probably after this episode goes live, but we will have them. It'll just take a little bit more time because Brazilian teams play in the Copa Libertadores and the Sudamericana tonight on Thursday. So yeah, I mean Adson's team don't, but the guy who's going to predict all the the Brazilian League, he kind of does it all in one. So we have to wait for that basically. But Adson's definitely going to be our midfielder. And then looking at our forward options, of course we have our new sign-in, and we also have Negli, who did start last game, which again is good. him and Bass both started. He played 70 minutes. He didn't really do too much, but it is a tough matchup. If we go over to the Eredivisie and we can kind of have a look at what is projected for Sparta Rotterdam, so that is Feyenoord's. And Julian Bass is at 70%, and so is Camille Negli. So, 70%, like I said, I'm not saying alarm bells are going off with those two specifically, because they had a good result last game. They drew 1-1. Negli played 70 minutes, so he is match fit now. Bass played 90, so that is a really good sign. He didn't get dragged early like Negli did. So, yeah, I'm not too worried about them. But what I am worried about is both our forwards are a little bit up against it this weekend. Like, Lorient are a very good team in Ligue 2. Again, we can kind of go over, we can go to Contender. We go over to Ligue 2, so French Championship, and we can have a look at the projections for Grenoble Foot, who Amin Bai plays for. So he is at 90%, which is good. He is a bit more nailed than Negli, and the matchups aren't that different, right? There's a 17% chance that Grenoble Foot win the game, and there's a 13% chance that Sparta win the game. Okay, they're at home compared to being away. Both matchups are not good. Like, I'll be honest, I'm not really too confident, but the fact that Bai did get an assist last game does make me think that, okay, he is in a little bit of form compared to Negli, who's only started one game. And so for that reason, I am going to actually go with Big Amin this game over Negli, although that might be a mistake, and we'll have to just take it on the chin if it is, but I'm not too worried that it's going to be. And then the only contemplation left is basically Julian Bass or Kenzo. Kenzo's away to Watford. Again, he's played a couple of games now. What's he played? 2 games in the Championship. Both games haven't been great for him as far as AA goes. And to be honest, Julian Bass did get a decent amount of AA in a tough game against 20. So, if you're on set pieces like he is, there's always a chance that he could get a decisive, even in a tough game against Feyenoord. So, I'm honestly going to trust Bass. I think I'm going to go in with Bass as my extra player. Adson feels like the right captain choice. He's most decisive capable. The fixture and the matchup is better than the rest. Look, I'm not expecting the world again because, yeah, there's some tough matchups in there. At least my goalkeeper isn't playing against Dynamo Zagreb this weekend, so hopefully we can expect maybe not a clean sheet, but definitely some all-around score. Under 23 Division 4, there's currently 1,570 players in there, or users. We're not going to go Negli, even though he does match up quite nicely with Bass. I'm just a bit worried that he might not even start in a game like this. So yeah, I'm being a little bit cautious, and I'm going to go with the guy that is 90% on to start as per Predictorfy. And that is going to be, lads, our lineup for this upcoming weekend. Like I said, we only need to hit 230, 240 points for a box. Like, I'm not too worried this weekend that we don't do that, if I'm being completely honest. I do think we have enough, in that 5 there to get us over like a 250 point mark. If Adson pops off, if he gets like a 70 or 80 before captain's bonus, then we could be looking quite pretty. And yeah, it kind of offloads the load that the other 4 players need to do to just get us a box. Like, that is, bare minimum. We want to win a box. I know it's only a 1-star box, but it's better than nothing. And of course, it will help us craft our first card. Currently still at 10. I should have mentioned that earlier on in the video. I'll put on the screen right now what we've won recently over Rivals. Like I said, I've had a bit of a tough week on Rivals. The only things I've won, I think I've won like 4 boxes, and the only things I've won is tickets. So, tickets are great. Like, they do keep you in the race, and they do allow you to, continue playing this game. Rivals, that is. I have 88 tickets right now, so I'm not, running low on tickets, which is fine. But I didn't win any essence, this week. So I really need to up my game this weekend to kind of try and craft our first card, because we're only 10 essence away from crafting a tier 5 plus, which, would do us the world of good. It might not be a great card, but it could also be a really good card. I've seen some people on Twitter craft like amazing cards from tier 5 plus. So it's all basically a bit of pot luck, a bit of a lottery, and yeah, I'm willing to take that risk, I think, when we get to tier 5 plus 20 essence. So lads, I hope you have enjoyed this video. If you have, please do leave it a like. Like I mentioned in the video, if you are planning on signing up to Predictorfy, please do use code QuinnyHarry. That will enter you into the mystery jersey giveaway. I'm also giving away 3 1-month memberships. So all you need to do is comment below, let me know your Discord or your Twitter handle, and I will be contacting 3 of you guys to have a free month on Predictorfy. If you've already signed up, like I said, it will just be added to the amount that you've bought. If you've bought 1 month of early access, then you're going to get 2 months. If you bought 3 months, you're going to get an extra month free. So that would be 4, right? So yeah, hope that's all clear. Let me know how your teams are looking for this upcoming weekend. Let me know if you won anything last weekend. I'm always interested to hear, how you guys are getting on, alongside the Road to Glory. So lads, hope you've enjoyed the video. Absolutely buzzing for this upcoming weekend. Hopefully we can get ourselves a box and maybe even a card. And I shall see you guys in the next episode.